Welcome back to Steelbear Academy. My name is Jonathan. Today I'm going to be cleaning a Browning Buckmark. This is the gun that almost all of my students shoot for their very first time shooting a gun, and it gets very dirty, and it is prone to malfunctions because it gets so darn dirty. So let's clean it up. All right, first things first, we need to make sure our gun is unloaded. I can see that it's unloaded, but you want to make sure you lock the slide open. Make sure there's no mag in the gun. No round in the chamber, no ammunition at all in our work area. Notice I've got some things set up here. Got my towel set up for my tablecloth and also for wiping off the gun. Got an old toothbrush. I've got a cleaning rod with a 22 extension eyelet here, and also a 22 caliber brush here, which is important because we need the correct brush. These 38 caliber brushes will not help us cleaning this gun, okay? I've got a couple old patches here. These ones are a little long in the tooth. I'm not sure I'll be able to use those, but I've got a brass brush here as well. I'm not sure if I'll use this. And we've got some cleaning products. So this is Ballistol. You can use whatever CLP you want. I would recommend using CLP. That's the one that I like. This is the one that I like to use, but there are many other good options. All right, first things first. This gun is a little odd in that they don't recommend, and I also don't recommend, taking this gun apart very much because this gun is a real bugger. Very, very prone to, I can't figure out how to put this darn thing back together, and it's very frustrating. So I have made the mistake, I think I'll call it a mistake at this point. I made a mistake of taking this gun apart, and it is quite unuser friendly to put it back together. And so you know what? The company that makes this, Browning, they don't even recommend taking this gun apart because it's unnecessarily complicated. So instead what they recommend is you just clean around the important parts while the gun is assembled, okay? So this is, it's just important to be aware because your gun is essentially still operable while it's in this condition, but maybe for, once every 10,000 rounds, you take this gun apart and do a deep cleaning. But by golly, make sure that you have a bag around you so that when you're taking this gun apart, that none of these things fly off, because I've lost parts. There's just like loose springs and stuff in this gun that just decide they're going to fly off when you start taking parts off of it. So I would recommend just cleaning it as is, okay? So first things first, we're going to apply some oil. So hopefully you can see in there it is nice and crusty, nice and nice and dirty. So that's the nature of 22. It gets very dirty very fast, but it gives us a good opportunity to clean quite frequently, okay? Now here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our Ballistol and we're going to get some nice applications and try to get some of that Ballistol into that chamber right there. You can see it's leaking out the bottom here. That's way too much Ballistol for the barrel, but I'm trying to get up and in here as well. Do a little wipey, a little squirty right there. I'm going to do a little squirt on the underside of the, not really sure what this is. This is like the, I guess this is the sights. They got names for this, but this is like the bar that the sight is sitting on. You can take this off. I would not recommend it. All right, so let's get a little bit of oil onto our brush. Give a little, apply it throughout the brush. This brush has been seeing some better days, so I'm going to do a little wipe on my shirt here to get any excess off. That's a little better. Let's do one more application. All right, now we're going to basically just clean all of the areas where we can see that it is dirty, okay? It's not so much about like aggressive brushing as it is just about moving the oil around. This gun doesn't have a striker channel that I'm aware of. I think it's a hammer fired gun. But anywho, you just want to get nice application of this oil all up in this ejection port area on both sides, and on both sides of the gun this way as well. Okay. There's a little cutout here, which is for the extractor, so I want to make sure we get a nice little scrubbing in there. Okay. Okie dokie. Let's see. We've got a breech face, so that's the this side of the gun right here. That's where the firing pin would come out of. We'll try to use gravity to help us by keeping oil out of that area. But I'm just aiming my brush upwards, and I'm brushing and scrubbing upwards. Okay. Now, once I've started making all of this goopy carbon solvent stuff, you know, all this carbon suspended in oil, I want to try to avoid letting it go this way into the gun. So I don't want to flip the gun up as much as I can at this point. Okay. Looks pretty good. Now I'm going to try to use a towel and then maybe even bunch your towel up around on something, and then we're going to just try to get up. We're not trying to get into a particular crevice with this. Now I am, but just kind of generally getting that towel up in there. And now we'll get something a little thicker, like my finger. Get up and in there. Kind of bunching the towel up. I'm going to run it through like this. And just getting that towel, working it around. And this is just to get any of the carbon that has you know, become now aqueous, or you know, kind of suspended in liquid, up and out of here. I feel like this would be like when you get transmission fluid out of your transmission with the that kind of pump that goes down and sucks it all out. It would be nice if we had such a thing. Maybe there is such a thing that I'm not even aware of, but just good old wiping it will be sufficient for right now. Okay. We'll see. What I'm looking for is I'm trying to find if there's any pooling of like carbon goop. Don't see any there. Don't see any there. All right, and now I am going to take the shirt and I'm going to try to get it kind of narrow, and I'm going to stick it underneath into the mag well and try to get it to peek out like almost. So I'm just trying to get my towel worked up into the mag well. If it bunches up too early, then it's not going to get all the way out. So we'll try to find a nice thin spot, and then we'll stick this. We'll try to keep it as one ply, and then this goes up and up, up and out. There we go. So now you can see that it's up and out. This kind of be like our bore snake a little bit. Okay. We'll do a little spray of ballistol on that spot. The nice thing about ballistol is it doesn't damage wood in any way. It's just oil. It'll make your wood oily, but it won't damage it. So what we're doing is we're just kind of getting that towel up and into these spots. Ooh, that's some good goop that I'm cleaning up right now. I haven't cleaned this gun in quite a while. So I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's a lot of goop right in here. Right in there. And it's kind of metallic. And we'll just kind of go up and in there and wiping it around on each side. And now I'll shove this through. We'll wipe it around on each side. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Do want to be careful. I see that there's an ejector sticking out right now. I do want to be careful that we don't get too wild bending this ejector. That's that little metal stick sticking out right here. Right there. That thing. We'll make sure we don't get too wild. That's a very, a very narrow piece of metal. Okay. Wow, it is very dirty. Let's see, I'm going to try to point this out. You can see right in the corners, right here on the corners of this feed ramp. Let's see if you can, hopefully you can see that. It is nice and goopy and sparkly and shiny in there. Oh, there's some good stuff right there. All right, let's apply some more ballistol. Just right in there. Good. I think I'm also going to try to apply some more so that it's going to try to work its way into the slide at this point. Just rack that slide a few times. Okay. Also going to apply a little bit of ballistol on the back side of the slide. I want it to seep through, and hopefully it will work out some of that gunk. Now at this point, you know, when you're talking about a type of gun like this where you can't actually clean it, you're kind of doing your best as far as the not wanting to break it open and do actual field strip type cleaning where, you know, you can't take the slide off, so you can't really get into that area. When you're doing it on this gun, you're pushing the cleaning agenda forward and building it up to the point where it's going to be a larger cleaning event versus maintenance, you know, kind of keeping up on it. This is pushing the problem down the road, so to speak. Okay, but that is what you got to do on this gun. All right, let's get a little scrubbing action in there. Now, amazingly, for how dirty this gun is, I am surprised that it does not malfunction more frequently. We get a malfunction when I'm training people probably 1 every 50 rounds. Sometimes more frequently, but usually 1 every 50. At least 1 per class. I'm surprised it doesn't malfunction more, given how dirty it is. Okay, it's looking better. Looking like we're getting some of that gunk out of there. Now let's take our stick here and shove it through again. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There we go. Pass it to my other finger. There we go. Okay. You know, this takes some creative cleaning, that's for sure. Okay. Shove that through the other side. Let's do a nice little wipe. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to keep pressure outward. So I'm kind of like tugging on this this towel this way, but I'm trying not to apply too much pressure because it keeps getting caught up on the ejector, that little metal stick, right there. So just trying to do my best. Maybe I'll start pushing forward with this as well, getting up and into these crevices. Okay. And now I'll give it a nice little Oops, so right now I got it caught on the ejector. That's what I did not want to do. Let's get that off of there. There we go. So don't make that mistake that I just did. I tried to apply that pressure in the wrong direction of pulling this way, and that just gets it caught right on that ejector. Hopefully that did not damage it. I can see that we need to scrub the extractor more. Let's try to get off some of that excess gunk before we move on. Okay. Now we'll scrub the extractor some more. So we'll try to have gravity help us a little bit by getting up and into this space here. My toothbrush is a little too large to go totally perpendicular to the breech face, so I'm just doing my best. We'll see if this brass brush might help us. A little bit. How's that looking? It's looking all right. You can always sing while you work, but I don't want to sing. I was thinking of singing the Disney song, "Just Whistle While You Work." You know that one? That one's from Snow White. It's probably not the song that you thought that I was going to sing, huh? That's I feel like that's my childhood cleaning song. All right, we're making a little bit of progress on there. So you can basically just keep going as long as you want. I'll speed the video up. This brush seems to be working a little better. You do be careful though, because brass, these bristles will break off pretty easily. And then you might have bristles floating around in your gun, and that would be its own set of problems. All right, looking better. All right, so we'll stop for that right now. Let's do our barrel next, because we put ballistol down our barrel, and we haven't even gotten a chance to clean it. Now this is going to be a little unusual because I'm using a brush instead of a, well, it's not so much that, I have to come from the muzzle side because I can't access this from this side with a barrel, with a brush like this. Now I could use a bore snake, and that might be something that you have, but I'm going to do it this way, and we'll see what this looks like. So here's some considerations. Now obviously we're at the muzzle side of the gun, so we got to make sure that there's no rounds in our gun. And to help you feel a little more confident, you can keep your slide locked open like that. We would do that anyway, but you know, you're gonna have to be on the other side of the gun, okay? So we're going to try to push our brush into this hole, into the muzzle, but we want to try to avoid running into the sides, okay? So they have a tool for this. I think it's called a brush guide or a rod guide. Some sort of guide, but we're just going to be kind of freehanding it here. So you just want to be careful. Try not to slam your brush into the corners here. This would be especially important if you have a steel brush, which, you know, I kind of assume this is steel. It might be aluminum, but I'm not sure. Anyway, you want to line this up and then use your fingers to guide it like this. And then you're going to slowly apply some pressure down, right until you get to this point where you're about to make contact with the barrel. And a nice gentle press through, okay? And it's gonna slip, there you go. And now our brush is coming out the other side. Now, I can't even do the method of taking this brush off because that would leave my brush locked in there, so I'm gonna pull it back the other way. All right, one more. Ooh, you can see, you can definitely see the gunk coming out of there. That's a good sign. we are making good progress. And up. Make sure your brush is tight on the threads so that it doesn't accidentally come unthreaded in there. That would be a bad. This is also something that you have to do when you are cleaning your revolver, unless you're using a bore snake. Yeah, personally, I feel like when people talk about the dangers of gouging their crown of their gun, I guess I could see it happening, but I also, at the same time, I feel like the crown of their gun is made of steel, so unless you're really slamming and making a big dent, I don't feel like it's likely to produce any damage to the crown, but maybe that's just my not my arrogance, perhaps a little bit, but my ignorance speaking. Maybe I don't know as much about this as I thought that I did. There are things I don't know. Yeah, everybody's got things they don't know. Not sure about that, but you just want to be careful that you don't run into the crown too much. Be gentle. Okay. All right, let's see. And typically this is going to press, some dirt and debris out of your barrel. Let's run a patch through just to see what's in here. If we have any buildup of anything. So we're going to line this up, thread it through like a needle. This is a 22 caliber, so probably won't even need to bundle it up like this. But let's do it. Gentle. And there we go. And press it through and come on back. It's not as dirty as I thought it would be, honestly, on the barrel, on the bore. Let's try this other one. This other brush, or this other patch, see if it's a little cleaner. This is when having gloves on is not as advantageous. Okay. Oh. All right, so here's a problem that you can run into. So if you bundle it up too much, then it's going to have too much friction, and that will slip it down, and then you're going to have too much friction. So sometimes you can't bundle it up that much. There we go. All right, not bad. All right, we will call it good on the bore. I think I'll do one more running of oil down it, just for good measure. There we go, you see that little drops. And then, at this point, I think that we've cleaned it about as much as we can. I can see that there is a buildup right around the breech face right here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that. I could keep brushing it like this, and maybe I will chip away at that carbon buildup. Maybe. I'm not too concerned about that. I'm going to just call it good on this part. You might be able to get a little bit of stuff in here cleaned away. Be careful, because it's going to try to close the slide if you swipe too hard, if you push too hard on this. But you could take your stick and do a little bunch up on this part, go in like that, give it a little wipe. That might get a little bit, but I feel pretty good about that. Let's do one more wipe in here. Try not to slam this on my finger. That would be painful. Definitely better. It's definitely cleaner, that's for sure. We'll pull it through and do a little a little wipe with, we'll keep the pressure up now. We'll do a little wipey. And now we will do a little pull through. Give a little swipe, give a little wipe here and there. Okay. We'll make sure that it's functioning. Now, on a 22 like this, you probably don't want to have a whole lot of oil constantly on the slide rails. So I think just the amount that we already put in there will probably be sufficient. I mean, the worst that could happen is that it's going to cause this gun to be unreliable, but I mean, it's a 22. A 22 is going to be sometimes unreliable. You don't want it to be every single round, but it's going to probably have, you know, one every 50 rounds, maybe more, depending on the gun you have. This is an important maintenance tip for a Buckmark. You want to periodically make sure that these screws are screwed down plenty tight. Don't strip them, but just make sure that they are tight. You don't want these to come undone, okay? Because these grip panels are actually a functional part of the gun. They hold a piece from flying off, okay? Ask me how I figured that out. It's because I accidentally had that problem happen where the gun was inoperable for a while, okay? Alrighty. So I'm just giving a little wipe down to all these little bits and pieces of carbon buildup that I'm seeing here and there, and this is not necessary. This is me like trying to be meticulous for no reason, because the gun is still dirty. It's not perfectly clean anyway. All right, that looks pretty good. Yeah, you just want to make sure that there's, you know, a bit of oil. So we already applied some oil, but just want to make sure there's a little bit of oil running in the mechanism of the slide here. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but it is gritty. You might not be able to hear it on the camera, but you can definitely hear it in real life. So this is another option. You might want to just do a little bit more, like a lot more. Not for the purposes of lubricating it, but just doing what we did earlier of some of it might just kind of work its way out. Just rack that slide a bunch, and some of that gunk will just naturally come out as you rack this. With having so much, as you rack it, some of that gunk will flow out. And then at some point you just got to say, all right, we're calling it. It's clean enough, okay? Do one final wipe down and try to not let your OCD kick in, and you can call it good. These mags, I wouldn't worry too much. Just give a little wipe down. It's got to be my mantra, I feel like. I wouldn't worry. I think that's my mantra at this point when it comes to cleaning guns. I wouldn't worry about that. Looks pretty good. All right, that's how you clean your Browning Buckmark. At least every few thousand rounds versus every 10 to 20,000 rounds, when you really actually gotta bust into the lock work and, you know, clean out inside the slide and take that slide off. Ooh, I shudder to even think of taking the slide off, but it'll have to be done at some point. And you know what I've done ahead of time to prepare for that? I bought replacement parts. I bought a replacement. I don't even remember what it was, the part that fell off, but I had to learn. I had to learn about the interior of this gun, and I didn't really want to have to learn about it that much, but this is why I'd probably recommend a Ruger Mark IV instead of this gun. But it's a very good gun. It's just, its takedown is awful. So thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and I hope this was helpful to you. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.